All right, so before I get started, I decided to go with the Auburn Plainsman example, which is a new task buying situation. And in order to kind of like try to secure the business of the beignet shop, I wanted to kind of emphasize the reach that the Auburn Plainsman has online within the local Auburn community. I'll kind of get into some of the statistics moving forward, but I'm going to touch on several stats that kind of show like exactly like what we can do to kind of like get their business moving in the right direction. So with that being said, I'm going to get started now. Good afternoon, Tanya. Very nice to touch base with you. Yep, my name is Jade Rice, and I organize a lot of the digital advertising at the Auburn Plainsman. And, we're a very proud organization within the Auburn and Opelika community since we opened in 1893. And I think that there's a really, really good chance and opportunity for you moving in to the Auburn area to kind of do some business with us. So I wanted to I appreciate you for taking some time out of your day to speak with me, and welcome to Auburn. And do you mind if I ask you a couple questions before we get started? Yeah, no, so like in terms of budgeting, like if let's say for example you were going to do business with us, what exactly is your budget going to look like? Okay, yeah, and if you've done advertising in the past, have you encountered any issues? Do you feel like you've had a consistent advertising strategy? And okay, so like, do you think that your business would perform better with better advertisements then? Yeah. And then, would running ads with a local business, do you think that would get more people into your store? Yeah, no, of course. When it comes to digital ads, the Auburn Plainsman is kind of the best place you can look within the area. We have like a very, very large brand name in both Auburn and Opelika. It's huge. We get about just under 250,000 page views per month on our site. And on social media, we have an insanely enormous reach. I think we get just under 3 million impressions between Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, which is huge. I mean, when you're trying to advertise, getting impressions is such an important thing. And we found that a lot of companies really, really get a high return on investment for the money that they put into advertising on our sites and on social media. Yeah, so like we have a couple different kinds of spots where we can actually run your advertisements on our website. So we have like a top like a loading bar, and then we have on the set of all the articles, we have like a top section and then a bottom section. Those are kind of the main three that we use. All three kinds of ads range between about $350 to $375 a month. And given the total amount of impressions that we get and page views on our sites, a lot of other local businesses that we've worked with have really found like a huge benefit in using them. So that's definitely something that they've absolutely loved. And not only that, but we actually also do run a lot of sponsored posts as well. So let's say, for example, using social media with all the impressions that we generate, what we'll sometimes do is if a local business is interested, we'll actually have them curate a message and provide us with some photos and everything, and then we just post and actually do like a sort of spotlight event where we kind of just highlight great things about the business. There's a couple that we've done within downtown, and I can actually provide some of the images and the impressions on how the posts have performed as well, but I definitely think that that's something that you would absolutely love. So yeah, I think especially with small businesses, the idea of like trying to use more money when you're trying to start a small business is always scary, and paid advertising can sometimes be considered like a hit or miss thing, just depending on who you're advertising with. I totally understand what you're saying, and I get where you're coming from, and I know why you feel that way. I think that other small businesses that we worked with had felt the same way in the past, but I think they've kind of found that, especially with like some of the businesses that have opened recently with COVID and everything, trying to get people back into the stores during the beginning of the pandemic, when everyone came back to campus after all of the students went back, was definitely a challenge. I think they found that there was a really, really huge benefit to kind of advertising in the Auburn Plainsman because we've been such a fixture within the community for so long. And yeah, I think that it's really good to try to get like a constant reminder for your business. I mean, a beignet shop, it's a great little spot. There's so much potential for people to go in there on a Saturday for breakfast. I mean, we already have places like that as well. Like I always talk about the Irritable Bowel because when they opened a few years ago, they were running ads on the Auburn Plainsman for a couple months before they opened. And on the day of their grand opening, they had a line all the way down to Toomer's Corners, which was actually really, really nice to see. And I know that given that I was talking to the owner the other day, and they actually told me that they were really grateful for the Auburn Plainsman for being able to kind of provide them with a lot of advertising, and they were actually very, very successful in their launch. So that's definitely something that I think was a huge value for them, and I think that advertising with a local small business could definitely be huge for you guys as well. So if you want to go ahead and get started, I can get you on a 1-month trial program. We can say it'll cost about $640. We can do 2 sponsored posts per social media site on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and we can also get you some advertisements on the website. I think that's definitely something where we could get you a good starting point for you to kind of make sure that we track everything for when you guys open and try to run everything in the month prior. Definitely think that would be great. And if there's any other businesses that you may know that would be interested, please make sure to send them my way. I'd love to kind of work with more of the small businesses in town and everything. So I'll definitely follow up with some samples of the posts and everything. But I'm happy to be able to move forward with you on this. And if you have any questions, please let me know.